A young seeker, keen to become the student of a certain master, is invited to an interview in the master's house. And the student puts on his best clothes and excitedly gets there and rambles on about all his spiritual experiences, his past teachers, his insights and skills, and his personal pet philosophies on life. He shares his backstory so that he can set the foundation for this new course of learning with his new teacher. The master silently listens and begins to pour a cup of tea. He pours and pours, and when the cup is overflowing, he keeps on pouring. Eventually, the student notices what is going on and interrupts his prolonged monologue to say, "Stop! Stop pouring! The cup is full, master." The teacher says, "Yes, and so are you. How can I possibly teach you?" This is the spiritual path. It helps us to see that sometimes life guts us so that we can learn. This is what Jesus' simple but perplexing spiritual teachings, called the Beatitudes, are all about. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. What can poor in spirit mean and designate but an inner attitude of receptivity and openness, and one that is blessed by it because only in that state is it possible to receive anything, even bad news, and find something to celebrate. This past season at St. Luke's has been a season of emptying. My sabbatical disrupted the year and caused me and us to change the pace of our collective work. We literally cleared space. And while in the early stages of that time, when I was in Italy, I got a dire text from Kim. "You need to call Ron." I did, and that is when I realized the cup of life overflowing, and that I needed to pay attention and learn. Beloved Bunket writer Thomas Merton once wrote, "At the center point of our being is a point of nothingness, which is untouched by sin and illusion, a point of pure truth, a point of spark, which belongs entirely to God." From time immemorial, wisdom teaching has insisted that only through that point of nothingness can we encounter God and learn to embrace love. As long as we're filled with ourselves, we can go no further. Life and Ron have been our teachers these past 8 months. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. The second beatitude is talking about vulnerability and flow. When we mourn, we're in a state of free fall, our heart reaching out to what we've been seemingly lost, but I cannot help but loving anyway. To mourn is to live between two realms. In one of my many conversations with Ron these last few months, Ron asked me, "What is the root cause of all of our suffering?" Playing the Zen master. Remembering the Zen teaching, I paused and quietly shook my head. "It's simple," he told me. "It's love. Love. Love is the cause of all of our suffering. But would we want it any other way? Would you want to live or die without love? Death is just completely entering into that love without clinging. And true love is always a letting go, never clinging. But we have to feel safe enough to love, secure enough to love." Reflecting on his life and ministry, and specifically his time at St. Luke's, Ron shared this story with me. On one of the Sundays back in December, I looked out and I saw you, Luke, and Robert Rappel talking. Immediately, my heart came to a realization. If I had to sum up St. Luke's and what it's meant in my life, I could do that with one word: safety. I moved to Jamestown as an awkward country boy, confused about my place in the world. and even my own sexuality. I met a young man named Robert at school who went out of his way to befriend me and support me by picking me first in gym class, and we had to divide in teams. We all know that moment. Even though I was a hapless athlete, he coached and encouraged me and made it safe for me to live when others sought only to tease and belittle me. I knew then that Robert attended St. Luke's, but I could not escape my Sunday duties as organist as a 12, 13, 14-year-old at my dad's church on North Main Street, some 10 blocks away, to join him here. And you, Luke, came to meet me just days after my son Jason had died from the same disease. You are not my pastor or my boss yet, but you showed up to sit with me and to listen. You didn't offer platitudes or condolences. You just sat with me in grief and anger. Soon after that, you hired me to come back to St. Luke's for a second time. Throughout these 3 years, you've been a friend and a pastor. I realize now that you've given me a safe place that I need to die. The people in St. Luke's Church is a safe place. They gave me permission to truly live and now to die. My friends, that is what church is all about. That is who we are at St. Luke's. We are a people who create safety and security, who support one another, who make it possible to find love, not only as the cause of grief and pain, but as a medicine, a healing. The mission here is simple. It's often on our frontal. Connect all people, let them discover God's love, empower them to serve, and watch them grow. It's here among you that we live that most foundational beatitude. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God. We see God when our hearts and minds are not divided. In community, we understand that God is not an object or a destination, but God is love. God is relationship. And from this place of security and safety, we're able to know our deep selves and to love ourselves first, to accept God's love for us, and then to share that love with others. At this 189th annual meeting of St. Luke's Episcopal Church, I invite you to clear a space for the love that is both the cause of our suffering and the very balm of our healing. Take a minute. Just breathe. Feel the safety of this place, not just of the thick walls, but of the thin walls of our hearts that beat and protect us as we carry each other around with us. Look around, these people here. This is our family. These are our people. It's okay to stop clinging and let go. Love is our beginning and our ending. God is our beginning and our ending. And today we know and are known by our loving. Today we let God be discovered. Amen.